20th, 9:14. I'm bringing the Troy LDC meeting to an open. We're going to skip over agenda item 1, 2, new business. We're going to do anything on new business?
No, I don't have anything.
I don't know what it is, okay.
Just to put out there too, I'll start with the meetings with an executive director report and all that like previous.
Okay. The old business, we have, first item is the geothermal update.
Just as a quick update, the council authorized serving as lead agency for SECR to review the project. There was a presentation at the finance meeting and then an approval at the full council meeting, I think on the 5th. And we've solicited lead agency letters, sent them out to the interested and involved agencies, and that period I think runs in early October, after which the council will schedule and conduct a public hearing to talk about the geothermal leases, and then have an ultimate approval of leasing the parkland, the staircase property, and then a portion of the atrium basement for the project. I think that's kind of like a late October window to get to those approvals, after which we'll be negotiating with National Grid for the offtake agreement, and the target ultimately is a January approval by the PSC for the geothermal field and that project. So
January 25?
Yeah.
Really? Is that real?
In an ideal, perfect world, it could start construction in April, May, June next year.
Okay.
But there's financing approvals and structuring and construction contracts, pricing, all those things are between here and there that may have an impact on timing.
Okay.
All good signs it's making progress.
Okay. Is that a reasonable time frame though, you think? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions on it? Okay. King Fuels remediation update?
Andrew has most of the details, but they've completed phase 1 of 3 of the remediation phases, and they're surrendering the south portion of the site as cleaned up, which is good news.
Good. Okay.
They're moving into phase 2.
How big is that south?
November.
How big is that south section?
I think it was 8 or 9 acres of the 16 on that parcel.
Okay.
So a good chunk of it.
Yep.
And they're moving into the next phase, I think November-ish, and Andrew and I think Joe Maz and you have discussed the need for removing some piles of waste and tires to get some things out of the way for them.
Okay.
There's a forced account concept using some DPW, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. To try to get some stuff moved around if we can do it efficiently. So those discussions are ongoing, and I think there'll be a need to kind of firm that up by October to stay with grid pace.
Okay. Any discussion? No. All right. Community business improvement grants, 670 Pauling Avenue.
So that's the doggy Happy Paws, the doggy daycare. She completed her project for the most part, but she left the interior part, which used to be a barber shop. She wanted to make that into a grooming area for the dogs. She ran into overage with parts of her building to stabilize it, so she didn't do the barber shop, and now she wants to go back and finish it. And she had $3,500 left in her grant fund. She wanted to be able to access that, so that she could finish the what her intended project was.
How much is that?
Because
Did you say
3,500?
Yeah, she just has like $3,500 left. She wasn't sure if she would be able to get to it this soon, but she does want to get to it. Now she's working with the Albany Business Development Center. She's trying to firm up her business, which is a really good thing for her because she's it was kind of a little all over the place. So working on a business plan, they suggested that you finish up the grooming stuff now, and that's why she's coming back for the funding.
Okay.
We needed to have an approval because we already paid her for the big chunk.
Yeah.
Well, we can't act on it because it's not for right.
Yeah.
Right.
For the
Can't-
official
yeah.
approval here.
Okay.
So
He just had 2 minutes, so.
okay.
Where was that again?
670 Pauling Ave.
So we'll table that that request. Does anybody have any discussions on it? Is it So how big was the original grant? Was it that 20?
Yeah, up to 50,000.
Okay,
And she did, all the masonry on her building, and she painted it, and she had a couple other interior things that she had done.
okay.
And the 3,500 is left out of her original
Yeah,
allotment?
correct. She did the larger part of the project and was gonna table the grooming part of it, but then they suggested that she finish out the whole project and
Mhm.
do the grooming now.
So I guess the question, if we had already approved the full lot, was the grooming part,
Part of it.
it was part of it, so it's
Yeah,
already been approved,
We
right?
just had a clause somewhere deep in the paperwork that said we were gonna only issue one payment for these. So
Okay,
we issued her payment, and I
okay,
was understanding that that $3,500 was off the table after that. But she's asking if she can now use it.
Mm-hmm.
okay. It was part of the original,
Yeah.
okay, it wasn't used. Justin, do you have any, I mean, I don't really understand why would we have a one payment thing in there? And do you have any idea?
For which I'm sorry.
No, this doggy,
Our grant project, that
Yeah.
the grants that, the business improvement grants that we had with the ARPA funds,
Yeah,
we were trying to just issue one payment
okay.
to each one of them. I thought it was in writing somewhere in the paperwork.
Is
but
it in
I can't find it now.
the ARPA contract with the city?
It might have been, yes, it might have been.
It's the only thing about that that's different, because we do, most of the projects are actually on drawdowns as you go. So
Right.
you prove what you did, draw it
right,
down.
I seem to
right.
remember it was set up to have some batch disbursements out of the city into us, and then we would
Maybe.
kind of gate them, kind of get them.
I think we just didn't want to pay people, like, have them be halfway done and be like, all right, I'm halfway done, and
Right, pay me, right.
reimburse them, and they just take the reimbursement,
Mm-hmm.
use that, and then we reimburse them again. It was kind of a weird
Right,
Yeah.
double dipping
Mhm.
type.
okay.
So we were like, just one payment, but I mean, this is different. She used 99% of the money, and then she just has a little piece left that she wanted to add.
Okay. So how would we even go about that to address this? I mean, if it was
The
approved,
board could waive that and have
We just-
like a case by case,
just
but yeah, again, we.
just waive the single payment? It's
Yeah.
already been approved, so I'm like, so really the resolution would be just to waive the
Allow the
one
draw.
time, okay, to allow the draw, okay. All right.
Yeah, okay. Hi, sorry for the delay.
Hey, Tom.
Hello.
Hi, Andy Ross.
Tom Casey.
Pleasure to meet you, Tom.
Justin Miller, go ahead.
So,
Hey, sorry for the delay. Apologize.
so basically we jumped over some, I'll get you up to speed. We're on to old business right now.
Okay, great, thank you.
Old
Sorry.
business, item 4.3A is, there's a 670 Pauling Avenue, there's a proposal to basically waive a one-time payment is on the table for us. There was a grant, they used 99% of it. They're looking to finish a project after part of it got tabled. And in front of the board is a resolution to allow a second payment, which is against terms. So what is the actual wording, Justin, that we have to vote on?
Just allow the disbursement of the grant.
Okay, as a one-time waiver? Okay.
And, not to be technical, but is it, I mean, I'd imagine that was something that LDC decided to do, that probably wasn't part of the contract with the city, I would imagine.
I can't find it. I saw it in writing once, and now I can't find it.
Yeah, just
I
'cause it
looked
wouldn't-
through it, and I'm like, where did I see that?
Yeah, I just don't wanna contradict the contract with the city, but I can't imagine that was I'm assuming that was part of probably the process from the LDC because of what you said earlier.
Yeah, I think it might have been.
Okay.
Hello.
So I need a motion.
I'll
If we
make a
want to.
motion.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So moved. 3B, 1818 Fifth Avenue. Increase grant amount to the maximum amount. So,
1813, that's me.
oh, it's 1818, right?
Did isn't it?
I don't know, that's what my glasses say. I had to put them on and off.
1818 is actually the
1818 is
development
other
across,
project.
it's the development project across the street.
So it's 1813?
That's my fault, I'm sorry.
Sorry, there's a lot of, There's a lot of
That I know.
action and movement around that.
Yeah, that was stuck in my head, I think, when I put that on there, I apologize.
Totally.
Now I know where I recognize you from, because you're doing work outside all the time.
Yeah, yeah, so if anybody hasn't seen my building, it's stunningly gorgeous.
Yeah, you're doing a great job.
Sarah Vadney of A Woman in Her Wood, we literally completed everything that was proposed this week, yesterday, in fact. And so, the bulk of the project funds went to restoring of the facade, which is very unique. It's over 100 years old, it's all metal work. And it was designed to look like a Persian prayer rug. So, this really brought the building back to life. It's gorgeous. I did a lot with this grant funding. I'm really grateful for it. We restored the floors. I reconfigured the interior. Look at that, it's beautiful. So if any of you remember cathedral music, this interior used to be all completely open, and then the previous owner, Arlene Knock, she had converted it into a wellness center and put up all the walls. So running it as my event space, I had it reconfigured so that it could be used more. I hosted I started hosting micro weddings. This is what that reconfiguration made possible. Had a significant impact to my business. Unfortunately, it's an old building. I haven't quite pinpointed. I think it was built immediately after the Great Fire of 1862. I believe this room was built as an extension for the owner that put in the facade. He had a rug store. He was part of the Armenian community that lived in Troy in the early 1900s. And so part of the grant also paid for the install of this beautiful galaxy mural, which really transformed the space. I didn't originally include in the grant funding to replace the roof, which I knew leaked periodically, because honestly, it's a big project. There's a deck on top of it. It's complicated. It's expensive. I really don't want to do it. But our weather has been really crazy and unpredictable, and a couple of really big storms had significant impact, and the mural is already damaged. And so I can't risk further damage to the mural. I just had the floors refinished. Those are beautiful. And so
What was the original ask?
the original ask was $34,000, and so.
So the original ask, and we authorized that.
Yeah.
Okay, so your ask now is to go to what?
It's to go to the full amount, $50,000. So it's an additional $16,000 and change, $16,341 to be exact.
How long have you owned the building?
I've owned it for 9 years. Yeah.
So you did the extensive sewer work in the back? There was a lot of sewer.
Oh my God! I paid more than my undergraduate and graduate college tuition combined on the sewer work. When this project is complete, I put probably about $200,000 into my building.
Good.
Thank you, Regeneron. That's all I have to say.
So how, I don't
work there anymore, but.
I guess the question is, how do we allocated, I think we had burned up all of our money on the, last I knew, didn't we? We had a pot, we went through it.
There's some stuff that didn't get used, so some
Do we have-
back, I
So
think,
that was
yeah.
my question, is this, so this is different than the previous one. We gave a certain award, there was 3,500 left over, but there's not necessarily 16 left over that was specifically allocated for 1813.
Correct.
Right.
We'd be pulling money out of that overflow.
We did have an overflow amount
I know.
that wouldn't really cover one full grant, or?
Correct, from our, I'm assuming that's still true from our
Yes.
last meeting when we, right? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I wasn't here in the last meeting, so,
I can send that around. I'm still getting emails back from all of the applicants to give updates on their projects, so,
okay. So can we fund this?
yeah.
Do you have
And
bids
it-
for the roof yet? Is that?
I do, yeah, for both the roof and the deck, they both need to be replaced.
What are they coming in at?
The roof is about, 15, and then the deck is around 18.
Okay. So, I mean, just my thought is that, you know, like Renee noted, there is a little bit of pot of money that's left over. It is under the amount to give what would have been the full amount that people were requesting. And it kind of sounds like your ask is in line with the other stuff you have. You're basically matching it, so,
Yeah.
you know.
Mhm.
Obviously, you're familiar with the steps of providing proof and everything from before, so.
Yeah.
You know, seems like you've put a lot of great effort into that building, and it looks great, so.
I
mean,
love it
would be
so much.
Probably a good use of those funds.
Yeah.
So we need, any other further discussion? We need a motion,
I'll make a motion.
okay? Any second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. So moved.
Thank you so
Congratulations, keep it up.
We can work
Um,
with Renee I think you can just amend your existing agreement to bump up.
Yeah, I'm curious, I know I'm just gonna ask, because it doesn't hurt, but I'm curious if there is a way to dispense with the funds spent to date, just to help with I'm like cash poor, I've spent so much money this year on this. I mean, I'll figure out a way, I always do, but
I'm sorry,
it would
so
be
what
super
exactly
helpful to
clarify?
get a payment of the work that's been done to date, and then the final payment of
Oh, to get a reimbursement, advanced kind of cash flow things, so.
She hasn't gotten any reimbursement.
I haven't gotten any reimbursement.
So if we can, that's kind of that would be on the city end of it really, right, Janae? Because me and you work on that once we get those payments out from the ARPA city side.
Yeah, she hasn't submitted her reimbursement packet yet.
I haven't.
She was just at the point and then the roof issues.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay.
so hers is different where she hasn't had any of the grant funds
Right.
dispensed to her.
It would be super helpful,
But-
like really helpful.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll let you guys work that out.
Yeah, we can talk about that.
Okay.
So, going back to item one, I wasn't at the last board meeting, so I can't approve the minutes. We don't have quorum to approve that, correct?
And I
The table.
think the councilman as well, yeah, we might want to park those and pick
We have to
those up.
park that.
Yeah.
Circling back to staffing, do we just want to talk about that, or does that have to be parked as well?
You have a quorum here, you'll have to abstain on your particular motion, but the rest you can vote on.
Okay.
Historically, then kind of started with Steve Strikeman, to set up basically a consultant agreement, to compensate staff that are spending time on LDC issues. Steve had an agreement with the LDC as executive director that paid him $15,000 a year for his efforts. Now as things are picking up, there's more programming, there's more people involved. We're setting up a situation where Seamus is appointed as executive director. Randy will be the deputy executive director. Andrew Kreshik is the senior project manager, and Danae, who's been the acting secretary forever, is officially being recognized and compensated for that. There are 4 agreements that are prepared and 4 resolutions to deal with each of those appointed positions under the bylaws. I forget the exact numbers. Randy and I discussed it.
I think
the other
it's
day.
5, 4, 3, 3, is that?
That's right.
Correct.
Yeah. Right, and that's just for this year's budget. There may be an adjustment next year once we we have a budget discussion to have at some point as well, but that'll recognize everyone's efforts and compensate them for the hard work they put in managing all the programs and grants. There's 4 resolutions. I think 3 of them can be moved with the quorum that we have here. And then for Seamus's, technically, he can't approve his own compensation under the bylaws or the Public Authorities Act. So the 4th one or the first one, depending on how you want to go about it, you just abstain, and then it'll carry with the other 2 votes if you're comfortable. So I defer to you folks on,
So the deputy executive director is Tom.
as Randy.
Oh, I'm sorry, right, it's Randy, sorry about that. All right. And he's not here, so, okay, we can do, all right, perfect, okay, I wrote down Tom, my bad. All right. So let's do that, we'll skip over the executive director. Is there any discussion on the deputy, executive director's position? That's at 4,000? Okay. We need a motion, right?
Yep.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, anybody second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. So moved. Next position is, sorry guys, listening. The senior product manager, that's Andrew.
Yep.
At, $3,000 annually. We have a motion. We have a second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So moved. And acting secretary is gonna be Danae at $3,000. We have a motion. Okay, second? Okay.
Just really quick, a special rep tonight. Thank you for all your hard work that you do, not, here, in planning. You've been doing it for such a long time. You are just the epitome of the person that can't let something not get done right, so we really appreciate you.
Medical term for
So, we call that crazy here, but that's okay. But no, we really appreciate everything you do, Danae, everything that Andrew does, and I think that this move is really good. The LDC has a lot of important stuff in front of it, and it's a nice way to move forward and utilize this tool that the city has for economic development that much more, so.
So, we have a first and a second, right? Okay, so, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So moved. So executive director, we have to table.
Now, we can move it, he needs to.
There's only two of us,
abstain from the vote. Well, you have a quorum here, he's just gonna abstain, so you're
Okay,
gonna go.
okay, all right, very good. Jumping back, sorry, that's why you're here, you get the big bucks, man. Executive director, 5,000, same as, Donnelly, I always wanna say Connolly, Donnelly. We have a motion. I'll second it, and, we have a vote. So, I'm saying yes. And he's abstaining, okay. So we're done. Matt, wanna run over financials, and full disclosure, I've got 9 minutes before I have to leave.
No pressure.
No pressure.
All right. First report, statement of financial position. As of August 31st, we had total assets of $3,827,620, with $364,508 of that in cash. We had total liabilities of $1,408,382, which left us with a fund balance of $2,419,236. There's no significant change to the statement of financial position for August. Our second report is the statement of activity. For the month of August, we have a surplus of $1,148.08. The significant source of revenue is our monthly national grid license fee, and the largest expense is for our professional services.
Okay, so we have financials and draft budget, so we need to approve the financials as presented to us, correct?
The financials, and the budget is a discussion
Sorry,
item.
as a discussion, okay.
So, budget for 25, for the most part, I have set the only one that I'm still working on the number board, on our financing income, that's our national grid license fee, so DSM, county lease. Just kind of finalizing those numbers for next year. The remainder of the numbers, I believe, are set. I did put, the reimbursement to the CRC for the working capital loan in there for 25. I'm sure if that was gonna happen this year, part of this year, part of next year. But I can also think that.
What's the $1 million in public authority subsidies?
Maybe you wanna, the $1 million over it, for grants or something?
Is that for the ARPA grant?
I don't know.
This is public authority subsidies.
Like $1 million in probably the next 4 years or something like that.
Oh, is that the geothermal stuff?
Yeah, well, before we finalize this, there's a $4 million grant that's gonna come in waves.
I think that's,
Two of it is in soft costs that'll be spent hopefully by spring.
yeah, I think we guessed, $1 million, because that's one of the last meetings, Scott kind of gave an overview from his first, he mentioned $1 million would be first chunk that kind of gets to be the,
All these draws that we
Milestones.
haven't started making yet, but yeah.
Yeah.
There's $1.2 million in potential draws by the time we get to the go, no-go, which should be January 15th.
yeah, I think that's how we were looking at it, like,
Then the money needs to go out on a restricted basis to meet the project budget. Probably a capitalized project expenditure budget to match that. And then the flow in of the ARPA money needs to be somewhere here on the balance sheet. That million's gotta come in and go out. There's a $50,000 retainage that the LDC can keep for administrative purposes, which in a way will, I think, subsidize or at least carry some of the staffing costs we're talking about, so.
So whatever comes in, that's what that goes.
You're an accountant, but,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Yep.
We'll have to set up a project budget line for expenditures that relate to the geothermal project, and probably should have something tracking ARPA coming in and going out, so. We can set up a call or something, put this on the screen, maybe we can move the stuff around and
I
then get
think
it
that's a
firmed
good
up.
idea, yeah.
Yeah. That might help dial in just
Mhm.
things looking forward into 25 anyway,
Mhm.
so. But anyhow, yeah, this is a good starting point, for sure.
Cool.
Things are gonna get a little more complex, I think, in the next year or two.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I got.
The question I have, you got a $215,000, and I'm trying to look at the other non-operating expenditures.
Yeah, that's the, repayment of the CRC loan.
That is, okay,
Yeah,
all right,
again, I wasn't sure if that was gonna happen part of this year, part of next year.
okay,
I just wanted to confirm it.
okay. Okay,
It would have to come out of fund balance, to just keep track on where the cash balance is
Right.
at the time of.
okay,
Also tied to the sale of, King Fuels at some point, so whatever that happens, take that CRC loan.
okay, is there any further discussion on the, budget draft? Any questions on the financials? Looking for a motion to approve the financials as presented?
Motion.
Second?
Again?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, so moved. No new business, correct? All right. Looking for a motion for adjourn.
Motion.
20 second? Good. So moved, done.